welcome to CTV. Today's show is called Art Price, a whimsical take on the what is today. All around the world, everyone is peacefully, happily going about their business. Even in Syria, where they are not being bombed by the US or Russia or any of the other major powers, they are happily and peacefully doing business in their own way. Except one place, Grand Rapids, Michigan, where today is the beginning of Art Prize, with a festival of sorts, a contest where people from around the world install their art around the city, and people, mostly Grand Rapidians, some are farther afield, like Bitely, Howard City, places like that, come and invade Grand Rapids and clog the streets with traffic and walking about looking at what some people consider to be art. The concept was introduced by a young man named Ricky DeVos. He is a grandson of the founder of a little company called Amway. Now they changed the name because of bad press to Alticor. But everybody knows it as Amway, and everybody knows it as a pyramid scheme, which it is not. It's not really appropriate to call it that. I think legally you cannot call it a pyramid scheme because the Supreme Court determined that it was a multi-level marketing project rather than a pyramid scheme. A pyramid scheme is being illegal in the United States, which doesn't matter to any of the Asians or the South Americans, and I believe some Europeans where Alticor makes most of their money. Before I go any further, I want to introduce Bobby Gilbert, who is going to join me on this panel about Art Prize and art and prizes. The concept was supposedly created by Ricky DeVos. The founders of Amway were is it Richard DeVos? Richard DeVos and Van Andel, can't remember his first name. Do you remember his first name? Jay Van Andel, yes, very good. Okay, so those two gentlemen came together, made millions and millions of dollars. So what happened was the grandson Ricky, perhaps idling away on his.
He was the son.
Huh?
He's not the son. He's actually the grandson.
Oh, he's a grandson. Yeah.
Okay.
Who I believe studied filmmaking, and he came up with this concept of, in his words, democratizing art, where anybody could enter his contest
for a fee.
For a fee, $50. I think it's still currently $50. And they were in the running to win a top prize of $250,000. And there were three top prizes. Second prize, $100,000. Third prize, $50,000. And the other 7 of the top 10 received, I think, $1,000. The thing that concerned me right off the bat, and I will tell you that I actually participated in the very first art prize in 2009. 2000, yeah. Was that this is a city in Michigan that has several cities that have defaulted and went into bankruptcy. And Grand Rapids was not one of them, but they are not thriving as a city financially. They have a school system that has for years been under duress, and they have not been able to. I went to a convenience store, and next to the cash register was a can with a label on it that invited me to put some money in it so that so that pencils could be purchased for Grand Rapids school children. And this is while this art prize is going on that is giving away almost $1 million, perhaps more than $1 million.
At least $500,000.
Yes, okay, sorry. $500,000. And I'm not against artists benefiting from their work, but with the backdrop of the city had been fighting the city workers and the union, trying to not only break the union, but they continually asked them to take cuts in their pay.
They actually just recently got a big, gigantic cut in their pay, and they lost almost all of their benefits.
And once a year, for a 3-week span, the town is flooded with people from the greater Grand Rapids area.
100-mile radius, I would guess.
To watch this, to look at art, and I'm not going to put anyone in a position to define what art is, but some of it is amusing. Some of it is seems to lack
in the
talent.
eye of the
Some of
beholder.
it is quite profound, I think. I would like to, if possible, we could show the first roll-in dealing with Grand Rapids Police Department and their plan to secure the people that visit Art Prize. Can we do that? Maybe.
As Grand Rapids prepares for hundreds of thousands of people to visit downtown for Art Prize 2013. We know many major events changed their security plans following the Boston Marathon bombings earlier this year. So we wanted to find out what Art Prize is doing to keep you safe. 24-Hour News 8's Amanda Jarrett took our questions to Art Prize and to the Grand Rapids Police. Amanda, what did you find out?
Emily, Art Prize officials tell us they haven't made any changes to their security plan. They say it's very thorough and extensive, and they work very closely with police every year. We went to GRPD to find out what you can expect if you head downtown this year. Captain Daniel Savage tells us you'll notice a heavy police presence here in downtown. Police walking around on their bikes and their vehicles. As for their Art Prize security plan, Savage says they do make adjustments every year during the event as to what sites or venues are most popular.
We evaluate it every year and try to make improvements. I really don't want to get into details what the exact plans are, but yeah, we're always evaluating and trying to improve from year to year.
You'll notice a lot of officers focus on traffic and getting people across the busy streets safely. That's a major issue as the sidewalks are packed. As you know, if you come down here, we have a major sidewalk by the UICA at Monroe Center and Division taken out by construction. So police ask that you just take notice of that and just keep in mind of the traffic signals and that kind of thing. And just expect thousands of people are going to be down here. It's going to be busy. There's distractions with artwork, people not paying attention. So police ask that you do pay extra attention. Be vigilant. If you see something suspicious, make sure you report it to police. Live in Grand Rapids, Amanda Jarrett, 24-Hour News 8.
Sounds good. I heard somebody speaking today that maybe it was a rumor or they actually saw it, but some woman on a bicycle stole another woman's purse on bicycle, and a Jimmy John's employee went and biked the woman down that stole the purse and took it back.
Paid for by
Jimmy John's. I just heard that today, and I was just like, "Wow, interesting."
Okay, well, I would like to address that particular news story, which was typical of popular news, where there's not really a story there. They wanted to know what. They actually, presented this story as what the GRPD was going to do for security special for this year.
Correct.
And there was, the answer was nothing. We're not doing anything special. And typically the popular network news, they want to inject a little subtle sensationalism where what are you going to do because of the Boston Marathon tragedy?
Correct.
How are you going to protect? And the fact is, since the Boston Marathon bombings, there have been probably, let's take a rough guess, 20,000 festivals in various cities. Grand Rapids is not a large city at all. It's what you would call a middle-sized city.
Micropolitan?
Metropolitan.
Micropolitan.
Right. Micropolitan. Okay. And so they wanted to get at what are you going to do? And the police officer, the captain at the
I think a lot of
GRPD
people were more worried about what happened in Washington, D.C. a couple days ago with the naval shootings.
Yeah, well, this is prior to that. This story is actually prior to that.
Oh, okay. And I think that was probably part of it. They're like, oh, so there's this big gigantic event, and people are allowed to have guns, and so they can just shoot whoever they want whenever they want. So let's have security. But the type of people that are doing these things aren't necessarily the people that they have been profiling for terrorist actions.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is there's no security for that type.
Right, exactly.
If somebody, I remember, I think it was like three or 4 years ago, there was a celebration down at Ecliptic, the Maya Lin designed park in close to the center of Grand Rapids, which I believe the city has named Rosa
I don't know
Parks
if
Circle.
they named it that, but a lot of people call it that.
It's referred to as Rosa Parks Circle. There is some kind of celebration going on there, and there was a lot of police officers in the vicinity. I think it was New Year's Eve, and they were waiting for the ball to drop. And there was this. There was a video that I watched of this scuffle, and there were people like running, chasing each other across the street, and it culminated with several gunshots. And the police were everywhere, and there's just nothing you can do to stop that.
And someone actually got shot in that incident.
Actually, I believe the police could have done something in that case because of the ramp up to the shooting.
It
was,
seemed as
if
so
anybody
from the
was
video.
that had eyes in that area would see that something violent was taking place. Nonetheless, I like in that clip the advice to, when you're driving, to pay attention to the street signs and the traffic signals, which is actually a good idea all the time, not just during our parade.
I agree.
So So anyways,
I was just down there today, and I often ride my bike on the road, which is the legal place I'm supposed to ride my bike. And it doesn't seem like the car drivers, I don't know what you would call them, care if you're on a bike or not. I mean, they just, I feel them brush me all the time. But if I were to ride my bike on the sidewalk, where a lot of people do because they're afraid of the car drivers, that the pedestrians will not move out of your way at all, so you might as well just get off your bike and walk it. But that doesn't really have anything to do with our prize as much as it has to do with Grand Rapidians that don't really much care for bike riders.
well,
but-
on that topic, to stray from Art Prize, but it's part of it. I was surprised that Art Prize has slowly diminished in its participation by artists. The first year it was probably the highest, maybe the highest numbers.
I
don't
believe
know.
it probably
But,
was.
But and that was 09.
Yes.
So is this the fourth year?
Correct.
Yeah. So I was surprised at the amount of construction that's going on in the city.
Yeah, right, all of a sudden.
I thought the DeVosses had enough power where they would say, you can do all your construction you want, but just have it finished by Art Prize. And I guess I was wrong. The city, or I believe it's the city that is doing this, on the corner at the very center of the city at Fulton and Division, there is a
That's not the
Civil
only.
War monument
Oh yes, yes.
that the city that strives to be called a green city and to appear to the powers in Washington as being for the environment, continue to destroy trees in the guise of progress. They are taking that monument that has been there for years, where actually it was moved from one place to to where it is now, and now they're moving it again. But in the process, they leveled every tree, at least 10 trees.
I was
in
going to
that
say 10 to
triangle.
20 trees.
Right. And now I don't care. I know they're going to put trees back and bushes and probably
But
some
not
kind
these
of
50, 100-year-old
some kind of
trees that were
expensive-
there.
But why are they putting money into this? Why are they spending money to even do that? You know, how old are those trees?
I
They're
assume
at
somebody
least,
bought the triangle of land there and don't really care that much about the environment. They're more for progress, and they want to put up a store or whatnot to create money for the city rather than to make the city pretty. They'd rather to create money, tax revenue for the city, but there are so many empty buildings in downtown that they could make into a very lovely store that would probably make at least as much, if not more money, without getting rid of the attractiveness of the downtown area. There are very, very, very few downtown areas that are green anymore. In fact, I can only think of the Veterans Park and Hartside, which are big, gigantic homeless people areas.
Right.
Because there aren't any places for them to go that are green. And it's very disappointing to find out that these natural people that live downtown congregate towards the green areas, and that's why they're getting rid of the green areas, perhaps, because they don't want these natural citizens to live in those spaces or to use those spaces.
Certainly, there's a gentrification that's going on. And that's what happened with the Morton House, which was Section 8 housing for a lot of low to no income people, and that was purchased by somebody. I first heard it was a Van Andel, but somehow I think it was Rockford Construction, who seems to do a lot of repairs and
For
for Van Andel and DeVos. and Sequia and all those guys. However, back to the construction. I was going down Division, and often, right now, the Division is down to one lane because they are putting in these what they call bubbles, and a boulevard. We used to call it boulevards. It was a section down the middle of the street where they put trees and plants and stuff. Which, if you're a cyclist, those two things are horrible. They cause problems. The bubbles force you to go closer to killer cars than you want to be.
And I can't
this
imagine
existence of the islands eliminates space for the bike lanes. This is not.
And
this
the driver as well.
Our mayor went on a campaign saying how great Grand Rapids was as far as having bike lanes and
Oh, I
being,
never heard that. That's ridiculous.
Yes, no, that's true.
He said that?
Yes,
That's ridiculous.
that's what I said. Why would I say that?
I
Why
don't
would
know.
say
I
that if
just
it
can't
didn't
believe
happen?
that he would say that because it's an out and out lie.
Yes, that's what I'm
Okay.
complaining about.
Sorry.
He's a liar, a genial, smiling, friendly liar. Okay, so I believe I was given the info that was not Civil War monument, it was a Spanish-American War monument. Is that correct? Okay.
Oh, I thought it was the Civil War as well. Interesting.
It has a Civil War look to it.
Well, it has all these Civil War on the base of it. It has these wars that were built, fought in the Civil War. They have the Mobile, Alabama War,
Yeah,
and
it
the
has
date
battles.
on it.
It has battles
dates of
that-
battles, correct, from the Civil War.
No,
so.
they're from possibly, okay, so that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
What else today? Okay, so that covers that. How about if we go to the? Are we ready for? We don't have to do it now if you're not ready. Are we ready with the Goodwill Avant-Garde? Roll that, please. Thank you.
Any 150-year-old trees around that Civil War.
No, they were like 50 to 100. Of that area where there was a building there in the 1970s.
Okay, so we're back.
Goodwill stores
We'll
across
see if
West
we can
Michigan.
work on
Well,
that.
for
If you guys can
Art
work on
Prize,
that.
5 artists were given a challenge, transforming Goodwill finds into avant-garde runway fashions.
Jill Wallace of Goodwill is here to tell us about that and Goodwill Art Prize fashion that you could actually own. Okay, you can't always own a piece of Art Prize.
Right.
But you can and be fashionable. Why don't you tell us about what you're doing?
Absolutely. Well, our Division Street storefront is transformed into an avant-garde runway. We sent out a request for proposal nationally, and we chose 5 artists, fashion designers. We sent them 10 Goodwill items, clothing items, gave them the dimensions of the mannequins, and they sent us back some phenomenal avant-garde fashions.
What was the response like from these fashion artists? Because they truly are creative and inspired individuals.
Absolutely. Well, really, when looking at fashion, we determined that it is truly an art. I mean, and we're hoping that people will take a look at fashion a little bit differently from your traditional art medium.
Mm-hmm. And we're looking at some right now. I mean, these were all materials that you can buy at a great deal, no less.
That's
at
right.
Goodwill stores.
That's right. You know, from $1.99 up to $3.99.
Holy
We
cow.
sent them 10 pieces, and this is what they transformed them into.
Wow,
bet
that's
that's been
amazing.
cool.
Well, you know, you think of these artists, these fashion artists that probably charge thousands and thousands of dollars for their
Right.
creations.
That's absolutely right. In fact, 3 of the artists are from Michigan, 1 is from Ohio, and 1 is from New Jersey. So we really had a great great response.
Nice. So you can go to the Division Avenue store to see them yourself, or you can go to Rockwell's and Republic, one of our favorite places to hang out, because you have a special event tonight. Starts at 5:30.
That's right. We have an event tonight running from 5:30 to 7:30. It's open to the public at no cost. Free hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and really it's a fashion event celebrating Art Prize as well as Goodwill fashion. We'll have models roaming, wearing Goodwill attire, talking about the cost of their outfit, the specifics, the brand names, and then we'll have a couple of the avant-garde fashions that we're showcasing at Art Prize at Rockwell's.
Okay, Jill, you have to tell me about these great T-shirts
Oh, I
because you
love
have a
these.
special T-shirt opportunity for people to get a piece of Art Prize, and there's some special stitching.
That's right. These are one-of-a-kind, truly, T-shirts. They're retro T-shirts. Art Prize came to us, asked us for 200 of these T-shirts. Art Prize, Teamwork, and Goodwill then partnered. These are embroidered, as you can see, with the Art Prize logo, Teamwork, and Goodwill logos. The proceeds from these shirts go to Goodwill. If you purchase them at one of the Goodwill stores in Kent County, you can also purchase these T-shirts at the Art Prize Hub as well.
Nice.
very
They're
nice.
really cool because I was looking at just the quality of these. They're almost like new.
That's
this
right.
you can pick up. It's a souvenir for Art Prize. It's great because it's a cool vintage tee.
Right.
For how much
They're
money?
$20.
$20.
Yeah.
That's a steal.
It really is because it is one of a kind and it's a true vintage tee. So, yeah.
Absolutely, super
Great
soft.
idea.
So remind everybody at home what you use this the funding for, because Goodwill is
Absolutely.
just such a great organization, from being able to buy things at such a great deal, but that really only in turn supports the great programming.
That's right. We have over 20 training programs and we truly put people back to work here in our local economy. We have, we've placed 1,300 people in the last year into jobs, and these are individuals with barriers to employment. So when you shop at our stores, when you donate at our stores, you can be assured that all of the revenue and all of your donations are going right back into our training programs.
Yeah, you've opened some great stores. I know we were able to profile the Rockford
Right.
location that you have. That's one of your newest. I was surprised at how many brand new items, because you typically think of something that's maybe old that somebody doesn't want at Goodwill, but that is no longer the case.
That's absolutely right. We are very selective with our gently used items as well that go on to our floor. We do sell some new goods from big box retail stores, which we can't mention. But when you go into our store, you can figure out obviously where these items are from. So we have about 15% new goods and the rest are gently used. And again, the quality is fantastic on these gently used items.
And it is really wonderful because you really are supporting some great programs, but you're also really cutting down on the waste. Something that is recycled, reused, it's like new to someone else.
That's absolutely right. Goodwill is the largest recycler in the world. I think I've mentioned that before. But if you tie this back into Art Prize, that's really what we were trying to get across. These fashions are what we call upcycled. And so not only can you purchase fantastic items in Goodwill, you can also take something and make something new and be as creative as you would like.
And we see that so much when you go around to a lot of the different entries. We see so many upcycled
Right.
items that artists have taken and given a new purpose to. So your message really ties in with what's happening in Grand Rapids right now.
Great.
So, thanks a lot, Jill.
Yes, thank you.
Exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Love the vintage tees.
Okay, so you would stretch this one out big
I
time
think
right now,
so.
Rachel.
Maybe in a
you should
couple
take,
weeks I
maybe you
can
should
wear
take this
this,
one, maybe
you
a little
know?
more your size.
Oh, yeah. This one for the now, this one for the later.
We'll be right back.
Are you West?
Hey, $20. That was 2 years ago. I think it's funny that those stitching machines are computerized. They just put it under the old used T-shirt, the old Van Halen. They ruined a perfectly good Van Halen T-shirt by stitching the clever Art Prize logo on it, which
Probably brought down the
anybody
value of the T-shirt.
older than an 8th grader could notice that it's the silhouette of the Calder
90 degrees.
Stabile La Grande Vitesse,
Correct.
set on its side. I suppose that was a statement by Ricky DeVos saying, I'm going to do something unusual and
Grand
set
Rapidian.
this town on its ear and give away $500,000. You know, he's not. He is giving away a lot of money, but he also is generating money from stuff like this. Not like that. I take that back. But from poster sales and T-shirt sales and other types of revenue.
And everybody that works for the Art Prize are
Volunteers.
volunteers. He's not paying anybody any kind of even minimum wage.
Actually, they used to pay a company to do the introduction, which is going on as we speak. Let me stop here. This is live right now, but you may be watching it in the future, taped on Tuesday at
6 p.m.
At 6 p.m. We normally run our shows on live on Wednesday, every other first, third, and possibly fifth Wednesdays at 8 o'clock for an hour show. It's a live call-in show, and this gives me an opportunity to say what you can possibly read at the bottom of the screen, which is area code 616-459-4881. Call in anytime if you have a comment or a question, or you just want to hear your voice on television.
Which is very amusing sometimes to hear your voice recorded.
So, anyways, it's whimsical. As some people know, I'm very much involved in some avant-garde art and theater in Grand Rapids, and it's always fun to see these
Interpretations.
These cute ladies on Channel 8 talking about and the nice
Guest.
person at Goodwill.
I wasn't sure if she actually worked at Goodwill or if she
Yeah.
was just a
No,
representative
she
for
was a
them.
Goodwill employee, and she organized the artists
Renditions.
to take their clothing and make it into avant-garde. Which you know, it's a word that's thrown around rather
Well,
easily.
and I think she probably used it as that's an avant-garde way to make the end product, but the end product did not really look avant-garde by any
I will say
means.
this: it was hard to tell. The shot of
That's
four.
true. That's true.
Those were mannequins in their window on the
Division.
Vision store.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell, but they looked pretty pedestrian to me.
Very normal.
It was. So I don't know what is avant-garde. Again, is sometimes a term that is not swallowed too easily by the public because they think of when I was a kid, the vision of somebody taking a sledgehammer to a grand piano was avant-garde, and filling a bathtub with multicolored ping pong balls.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So,
I missed
however,
that era.
yeah, but that doesn't. I'm saying it's not.
Correct. Yes,
Because
yes.
avant means forward, and it's avant-garde is a new way of looking at something. So perhaps we can cut the Goodwill artists a little slack and say maybe that was a new way of looking at we weren't given the benefit of seeing the
Before.
the before exactly, and often. Okay, we have a caller. We're going to stop our jibber jabber.
Sure.
We're going to say hello to Jeff. Jeff, do you have a comment or a question? Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me or?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I had a question too. Remember, I don't know how long this art prize has been going on, but remember when it first started a few years ago, I think it was WOTV said, we have this big surprise announcement going on in downtown. And I was talking to some of my friends, and at that time I thought, well, maybe they're going to open up a manufacturing job to make televisions or make DVD players. And it turns out this art prize because Dick DeVos' idiot son wanted to do something. And so, it's a big to-do about nothing. And now, like you said about avant-garde art and stuff, like you said about avant-garde, actually the definition of avant-garde, if you want to talk about music, would be something like Frank Zappa. And people, don't like that, or art, and stuff like that. Do you have a comment on that? Because I just found it interesting that WOTB did this thing years ago, and I thought, oh, maybe some jobs and stuff, and it turned out to be some art, which I like, by the way. But have a comment or?
No, I agree with you. You reminded me of that. I forgot about that. There was this big surprise.
Yeah.
What is he going to say?
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, I wasn't repulsed by it, but it would have been nice to have heard that there was some.
Something for
DeVos or
everybody.
Van
Yeah, something
were
for
going to
everybody,
put some, like you said, bring manufacturing.
Yeah. I think it was Stephen Durst has been in your panel before. Stephen Durst, and I think a while back he had some friend that went to Art Prize, and I guess he was a friend from Sweden or something. And Stephen goes to him something like, "Oh, how's that communist country?" or something. And the guy goes, "I was able to go to a dentist get my teeth fixed," So it's just kind of like how they build this up, this Art Prize and stuff. And yes, it's good for the overpriced coffee shops downtown and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but. But anyways, as far as the manufacturing jobs, they were talking about that too, about like Terry DeBoer. If people don't know about that, I guess years ago, she's a Republican. We might as well say that she actually hosted a fundraiser for Dick DeVos. So she showed
He
her true
needs
colors.
funds.
What?
I didn't know he needed funds.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, you're right. Because he gets them from the Koch brothers and foundations, all this stuff. But I just found it interesting that it does bring people to downtown area, but I was more hopeful about jobs and stuff, and they never, talk about stuff like that. So I'll take your
Don't be silly, Jeff.
comments off here. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I forgot about that. The surprise, the big build-up.
Yeah, I
Yes,
forgot
there's
as
something-
well. Yes, yes.
And again, it's not common for people to react negatively to right out of Ricky DeVos's mouth. He said, "Well, how could it be bad? How could this art be bad?" And it's not bad. It's just that maybe there's in a city that's struggling. Not as much as Flint or Saginaw or Detroit, but perhaps there was something else that you could do with your $500,000. Maybe maybe
Donate
you could
it
relieve
to the schools so that the literacy rate would go down.
relieve the pressure off of the schools, or perhaps. Create more jobs. Yes,
Yes,
that is not what, and that's the thing that is my pet peeve about downtown in Grand Rapids, is that there is a lot of space for commerce that is owned by very few people.
Correct.
And for instance, I saw the shoe store, Van Hoek's.
Oh, yeah,
they
they're
are
gone.
gone. They are gone. They couldn't do it anymore. I assume online
Rent was
shoes are
too high.
cheaper
Well,
or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe
But
rent was risen.
first they cut their store in half, and then a restaurant went in, and then they left, and now a comic book store is there.
Correct.
And I just happened to go through there. They're open now, in time for Art Prize, and I was. I'm not being negative, but when I look at stores like that, I say, all right, how much time do they have? When are they going to fold? When are
Well,
they?
it seems like that with most companies nowadays, or actually small shops. The only reason that they can open is because they have the niche, and after that niche is gone, they're gone. Because there are so many of these big box stores that will supply everything for your basic needs. So any shop that opens nowadays, they can't be a regular company. They can't be a regular business that supplies people's needs. They can only do specialty things anymore. They have to cater to these specialty needs.
Right.
And when these specialty needs go away, they're gone.
There's kitty corner from the I think it's called Parsley's, the Middle Eastern restaurant. Is an olive oil store And every time I walk by there, there's nobody in there. I don't know how they're going to survive. The rent that these few people that own the real estate downtown, the rent they charge is phenomenal. There's up the street. There's a high-end bike store.
Correct.
That I never see anybody in there. There's eventually that loan that they took out to keep them afloat is going to dry up. And the reason I mention this is because if it weren't for Art Prize bringing all these people down here that just come down, they want to see some art and spend some money, if it weren't for them, most of these businesses would be struggling. This is their Christmas.
I was actually, yes, exactly. That was what I was going to say. I was actually talking to a woman this afternoon. I said, this is like downtown Grand Rapids Black Friday. I mean, this is what's going to pull them through the rest of the year all of a sudden.
Because on Black Friday, nobody comes downtown.
No, but I mean, in the past, they actually had to have a good business in order to survive downtown. Now all of a sudden they can make it up in 3 weeks' time. I mean, when I do go downtown during Art Prize, I can't go to the regular places that I used to go to downtown because they're all filled up with these outsiders, which is not a bad thing by any means. But why don't they come downtown when it's not Art Prize?
Because there's nothing down here. The Parsley's went in. That's a restaurant. There's restaurants in bars and coffee shops. There's no, unless you want,
there's no draw.
Unless you're running low on olive oil and you need a $2,000 bike, or a comic book. This is probably a good time. I know about the prices of comics and the availability of them online. Can we go to that, Greg?
Oh.
So the reason I know that is because a friend of mine who he created a book called The Sanctuary. It was a graphic novel, and he does the posters for Kong League, our avant-garde theater, and that's I wanted to give credence to our opinions of avant-garde, and so he always creates our posters, and he created that one. He has a new
series.
The Big Trip. He has a new series coming out, and he's going to publish that also, possibly with Fantagraphics. So, so when I walked into that comic book store, I saw, they have a nice new show. They're all happy to be there, and I don't know where they're getting their glee. I don't know who's going to come downtown to buy comic books.
Well,
so this is the Death of Schopenhauer poster. It seems that it's going to be performed on November 14th, 15th, and 16th.
We'll see about that.
Is that true?
That's the plan, but plans never work out. But I was going to say that, there aren't very many people that live downtown, and people that do live downtown or perhaps work downtown, there aren't the normal necessities downtown that people need. They want to buy toilet paper over and over again. People want to buy milk over and over again.
They could wipe their ass with a comic book.
There aren't those types of things for people to buy downtown, so why would they live downtown? And again, if they do work downtown, they aren't going to stay downtown to buy one or two things. They're going to go to an area where they can buy everything they need in a centralized area. And downtown hasn't had that for about 30, 40 years.
Okay, the problem is, and I've seen this, I was raised in Flint, I've seen this before. The only way, and Muskegon and Saginaw has the same problem. Actually, Saginaw doesn't have as much a problem, but what you need is middle-income people with viable housing in the downtown area. Those are the people that actually go down and walk around the streets and buy things. The people that live in these $1 million, $100,000 lofts, they take the elevator down to their car and then go to Myers and someplace else.
But-
If they do walk down the streets, they go and get a latte. You need people
Or
that will buy comic books and that will buy clothing, and normal clothing.
Well-
not that I don't know that one clothing store down there is for. It seems like it's for.
It's called Lee and
for-
Birch, but anyhow, it's a higher end store.
Right.
But the biggest problem I think is that there isn't really a middle class anymore. These people that think that they're middle
Yeah,
class
true.
by earning $100,000 a year really are not earning $100,000 a year, because they are buying their condo for $300,000 that will never ever be paid off. They bought a car for $50,000 a year that will never ever be paid off. So they're living in this debt where they're paying $1,000+ a month, $200,000 a month for their house payment, $500,000 a month for their car payment. They can only afford to shop at Walmart. They have to shop at Walmart just like every other poor person in this planet, in this country, I should say. That there isn't any other option for them to shop at, because they have been taught to make poor choices their entire life about how to live. They are it's visual quantity more than quality. They think that they have to buy things to prove their wealth rather than just to have wealth. So they're throwing away their money for no reason, or I'm not for sure exactly what I'm saying about them as a person, but it's just like they don't have any option. There's no middle class in this country anymore. They have to penny pinch. They can't. If they do buy a $50 bottle of olive oil, they're not buying something else. I mean, there's this
True.
opportunity cost. I mean, if you want to shop downtown where you live, I mean, you can buy that same bottle of olive oil at Myers for $20, but they're paying $50 for it downtown.
And if you want a bike, you go to a
Schwinn out on
secondhand store, or
28th Street and buy it for $2.50.
If you want a comic book, you can go online and get it for much cheaper.
Exactly, online for $10 or downtown for $50. It's just this opportunity cost that
Well,
we
it's
don't
not
really
50.
have.
There are
Who
$50
knows?
comic books,
Who
but
knows? Whichever one they want. I'm not going to tell them which one to buy. It's just that there's these opportunity costs that that aren't very equal or viable anymore. It's very skewed why people buy what they buy, and it's skewed by advertising and big corporation and whatnot. But it's not making anybody's life better, or I don't know if it's making it worse or not. But it's just this lack of community and lack of a middle class, and
okay,
that's
back to our price.
okay. And then so all these people, and I saw today that the average age of the people I saw downtown looking at Art Prize was probably 50,
Oh, really?
60. There weren't any children.
It
There
has
weren't-
that air of, hey, honey, let's go down to Grand Rapids and look at some art.
Yes,
And
yes.
then the spouse says, well, what's art? Well, let's go find out.
Correct.
It's
correct.
a dragon made out of old tires.
Correct. Yes. Well, maybe, but yeah. When I
There
was
was a joke about a lot of art prizes, a large thing made out of little tiny things.
yes,
you know,
I heard that.
the penny that was made out of little penny.
the
Did you see that?
yes,
one?
the penny, the big penny made out of little tiny pennies. And we had to feel sorry for her because it was pennies. They were pennies
Right.
that her children had given her.
Supposedly, yes. You have a backstory.
Yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I was riding my bike downtown today, and I was stopped at a light, and there were probably about 10 to 15 people sitting on the corner waiting to cross the street. and I think the youngest one was probably about 40. The oldest maybe 65, 70.
Well,
and
this
they
is a-
were pointing in all different kinds of directions, and they had never been downtown before. They're like, well, somebody said blah 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 over there, and then the
Okay,
other
well,
one,
no, this is the story. That the very first year in 2009, they had the surprise announcement. Then people from around the world paid their $50. You make a deal. What I thought was unusual is artists usually go to a venue, and the venue says, "Okay, you can show your stuff," and then you're guaranteed. When you don't pay. You would only pay if you were accepted, and the art prize was you paid, and it's possible that you wouldn't be accepted if you couldn't find a venue. So, anyways, you find a venue. They had this deadline for when
Finding
you
a
had
venue.
the artist and the venue had to couple, and then when the deadline was over, that's it. You're out. You're out or in.
Yes.
So, and it wasn't hard the first year to get in because
'Cause
there
everybody
were
was in.
Yeah, there was a lot of venues and stuff. However, the parameters were quite close. There was only I think a 1 mile square
sounds familiar.
that from the center of downtown, that you could have art and that you could be a venue and that you could have art as to be part of Art Prize. Then something extraordinary happened where, because of that close proximity, the parameters, there was art everywhere. There was art all over on the streets. There were people doing performance art. Strange, like there was this giant red ball, and then people came out of the woodwork to view this stuff. Restaurants and bars ran out of product.
Oh yes, they
That,
did. They ran out of food,
They
and
were
drink.
Cisco and the other
Gordon
place.
Foods.
Yes, they were all being inundated by these restaurants saying, "You give us some more food," because nobody expected that. And and that says one thing: dollar signs. When that happened, the next year, the very first year, the Grand Rapids Art Museum was not a venue. They did not have anything
didn't need to be.
inside, and they were closed to the public for
Oh, that's right. The second
Art
year.
Prize. And then people were saying, "Oh, well, there's money to be made here, so include us." Okay, we'll do it. And so then the art museum last year was the venue for the grand prize winner.
And the year before was not the grand prize, but maybe one of the second.
Oh no, the year before the
Correct.
soldiers.
The soldiers, correct.
Okay, so the Meyer Garden, which is not actually in the city limits,
Anywhere near downtown.
demanded to be part of Art Prize, which spread out the parameters, and all of a sudden the more you widen the boundaries, the less you see, the less it's
for
less,
sure. Yes,
not
yes,
as concentrated. And so now you can walk downtown, and I walked 3 blocks and I didn't see any any entries.
There are
at
people,
all.
but there isn't any art. There's lots of
There's
people.
and there's like these walking tours, and you walk for 5 blocks and you don't see anything.
No,
it
not
it was all about greed, and all of this money that is generated is going to these restaurants that were making money anyways, and bars. Good luck to those stores that don't sell liquor or food.
Food for sure.
This is the one, also the one time that the street vendors, who are oppressed by the city because they are limited, they cannot move. When you buy your license to sell food on the street,
If you actually-
you are limited to a very small area. You cannot push your cart down the street.
Correct,
and
correct. Well,
sell these
actually, you know, I
strawberries.
did really look into that, and legally they are not allowed to sit in one space. And
They changed that.
legally,
Yeah,
legally
because you
they
used to
can't
see them. You used to see them.
rocking back and
You
forth.
couldn't sit still. They would just like stand there and rock their cart back and forth. It's
In
embarrassing. Why are they doing
In
that?
2008, when I looked it up, you were not allowed to sit still.
Yeah, they changed it.
And the limits were about 3 blocks at most that they
Yeah.
had to stay in.
I don't think it's that big anymore. I think it's less than 3 blocks. But because I used to have this job
And
in
not
a
3
parking
blocks
lot.
square, it was like 3 blocks.
They would sit there, and then whenever they saw a cop, they would start rocking their cart back and forth. Quite comical.
It's true.
That-
It's
you
very
know, that's
sad.
the bureaucry of this great city.
I don't know if it's necessarily
So
the city
today
or this
is
entire
the
country.
beginning of the very beginning of Art Prize. It's a 3-week process. There's 2 weeks where you can go look at and vote as many times as you want. I mean, for as many art as you want, many pieces of art that you want, or entries. Only one per a vote per. That's interesting. Also, a popular Republican has conceived this idea of democracy where you can vote more than once.
Oh, right.
And so at the end of 2 weeks, I think it's 2 weeks, maybe it's a week and a half, they decide who the top 10 vote getters are, and after that you get you get to vote again
Correct.
for one only of the top 10.
It's like the voting for the democracy primary.
And then at the end of the 3-week process, they tally
Democratic
the votes,
and the
which is suspect. Every year there's been some snafu, and it's all bull.
Well, they don't tell any of the artists what their voting rank is until the very, very last minute, so they can actually probably change whatever they want.
I participated once, the very first year, and I sent them an email after the show, and I said, why can you not tell me how many votes I personally received for my work? And they said that you cannot, if you win an Oscar, they won't tell you how many votes you got. And
That was their response.
So he was comparing the Art Prize to winning the Academy Award, which is 2 different animals.
The amount of votes.
It was always the actual reason is they were suspicious, and there's always been something suspicious about the voting in Art Prize. Thank you very much for watching. This is Bobby Gilbert. My name is Gary Perrine. Thanks.
I actually heard this crazy thing today that somebody was telling me that